Hi everyone, so today I would like to present in chapter 20 entitled Writing from the Practice of English Language Teaching by Jeremy Harmer. Let's get started. Okay, about literacies and handwriting. Around the world, many language exams are still, despite what we have said, taken by candidates using pens and pencils, and we generally write notes, postcards, memos, journals, and etc. in handwriting. It is unlikely that handwriting will become obsolete, at least not in the immediate future. Many students whose native language orthography is very different from English have difficulty forming English letters and may have to be taught exactly how it is done. This might involve showing them which direction the writing stroke go in. For example, the worksheet on the slide, this is actually designed for children learning to write the letter B, shows writers where to start and how the strokes go. Gradually, the written B becomes fainter and fainter until the students are in effect writing in on their own. And then on the reason that spelling is difficult for a student of English is that the correspondence between the sound of a word and the way it is spelled it is not always obvious. To help make things clear, we should get our students to focus on a particular variety of English as a spelling model for them to aspire to. But we should also make them aware of other spelling varieties, drawing their attention to dictionary entries which show such differences. One of the best way to help students improve their spelling is through reading, especially extensively. And different writings communities, both between and within culture, obey different punctuation and layout convention in communication such as letters, emails, reports, and publicity materials. Such differences are easily seen in the different punctuation convention for the quotation of direct speech, which different language use, or the way in which many writers use commas instead of or as much as full stops. To be successful as writers in our own or another language, we need to be aware of these layouts and conventions and use or modify them when appropriate to get our message across as clearly as we can. And text construction. This involves understanding about coherence, which means understanding how to put a text together in a comprehensible way. When learners analyze text in a specific genre, one of the things they will do is to track the sequence of arguments and ideas they find there. But they also need to understand how cohesion works and how to deploy cohesive devices. This involves understanding how we put lexical change in a text by using the same words, related words, and synonym. Many educators, however, advocate approach to student writing. Many educators, however, advocate a process approach to writing. This pay attention to the various stage that any piece of writing goes through by spending time with the learners on pre-writing phases, editing, redrafting, and finally producing a finished version of their work. A process approach aims to get the heart of the various skills that most writers employ and which are therefore worth replicating when writing in a foreign language. We might, for example, discuss the concept of first and final drafts with our student, and I then ask them to say whether the activities listed in the picture take place at the first or final stage, and to put them in the best chronological order. And then we move into genre. Genre represent the norms of different kinds of writing. When teachers concentrate on genre, the students study text in the genre in which they are going to be writing before they embark on their own work. There are three essential features of genre writing. Firstly, writers have to think carefully about the context they are writing for, and secondly, they need to identify the audience they are writing for, and thirdly, they have to look at how typically effective examples of writing in the genre are constructed. And then we moved into the creative writing. The term creative writing suggests imaginative tasks, such as writing poetry, stories, and plays. Creative writing is a journey of self discovery, and self discovery promotes effective learning. When teachers set up imaginative writing tasks so that their students are thoroughly engaged, while students are writing a simple poem about someone they care about, or while they are trying to construct a narrative or tell stories of their childhood, for example, they are tapping into their own experience. This for some provides powerful motivation to find the right words to express such experience. And then writing as a collaborative activities. Collaborative or cooperative writing works well, whether the focus is on the writing process or alternatively on genre study. In the first case, reviewing and evaluation are greatly enhanced by having more than one person working on a text, and the generation of ideas is frequently more lively when with two or more people involved than it is when writers work on their own. In genre-based writing, it is probably the case that two heads analyze genre-specific text as well as, if not better than one head would do, and often create genre-specific text more successfully as a result. Collaborative writing can be immensely successful if the students are sitting around a computer monitor. But of course, students don't need to be physically present for collaboration to take place. Many teachers know set up groups on sites such as Facebook and Twitter where their students can see each other's writing, ask questions, and offer comments. And then building the writing habit. Building the writing habit can be done with a range of activities. We can promote instant writing by detecting half a sentence which the students have to complete quickly. For example, before I'm 30, I would like to blah 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 blah. One way of making our students feel comfortable about writing is to build writing fluency into our lessons by asking them to write as much as they can at the moment's notice and for a given length of time. Such quick write activities help to make writing a normal part of classroom activity. Patterns and scans help students to write with more confidence, especially at levels. If students are given a model for postcard writing, it is easy for them to come up with their own slightly different version. Picture can provide stimulation for activities which help to build the writing habit. The student can describe a picture or write description of a wanted man or woman so that their colleagues have to identify that person from a group photograph. And then writing for learning. Writing for learning is the kind of writing we do to help our students learn language or to test them on that language. This, if we say write three sentences using the going to future, our aim is not to train the students to write, but rather to help them remember going to is a future. And then practice on writing. Okay, let me check it first. Okay, so practice on writing. If we want our students to learn about punctuation, they need to make the connection between the way we speak and the way punctuation reflects this. Commas, for example, are often placed at the points where a speaker will take a breath if they were reading the text, and full stops represent the end of the tone group. And the example on the slide is a text at lower immediate level, and here ask the students to punctuate a prose passage using capital letters, commas, inverted commas, and full stops. And then dictation. And Uh, Dictation, where the teacher reads a text and the students write it down, has been around for centuries and it has its uses. For example, it forces the students to make useful connection between sounds, spellings, and words. In the example, the students dictate lines of a poem to each other. They have to produce an exact copy of the poem. The activity has a competitive, game-like quality which will make them concentrate and think fast. And then a European language portfolio. One particular version of a language learning portfolio is the European Language Portfolio or ELP from the Council of Europe. It closely related to the Council's on CEFR levels of achievement. It was intended to develop learner autonomy and to foster plurilingualism and intercultural awareness and competence. Learners keep for themselves a record of their own language learning, recording their progress and achievement. It has three separate elements. The first is a language passport. In a language passport, the language learner can summarize his or her linguistic and cultural identity, language identity, and then language qualification, and then experience of using different language and context with different cultures. And then language biography. Learners can set learning targets for themselves and record and reflect on their language learning experiences. And then dossier. This is where the students keep example of their work, project, reports, diplomas, PowerPoint presentation, and etc. Okay, so that's all about the chapter 20. Thank you for your attention and see you.